You're now tuned into the hottest podcast in the world, the Stay Woke Podcast, right here on the SonicBreakdown.com.
Welcome to another Stay Woke Podcast. This is DeRa Brinson, and you know your boy, William Wes, in the building.
It's good to be back, man. Thank you for having me.
So,
But I'm here by default because I got to record everything.
Exactly. He's a producer, so he has to be here. But no, on some real shit, I appreciate you continuing producing for us. Again, as you know, this is a podcast that's presented by the SonicBreakdown.com. If you haven't, check that shit out. We putting in work. I'm going to be real. I haven't been writing that many reviews. Your boy just had shoulder surgery. If any of the medical people out there, I had Bankart lesions, two leisure sutures put in, our anchor suture,
Talk your shit,
to
talk
put
your
in
shit.
to keep my right shoulder in place because that shit was not staying in. So when you got one hand, because you can't really raise your shoulder, it's hard to type. So I've been slacking on my reviews, but trust and believe, once I'm done with my physical therapy and I get the surgery on the left side, I'll be back to writing reviews. So I'm going to continue hitting you with the podcast on some real shit.
Right on.
Breaking all that down, I had to let y'all know that shit. So you know I'm not just slacking. I'm not just bullshitting. But I am still listening to the music. I still keep it tight. But today is going to be a special podcast. I got two of my close friends, my boys, my brothers, you know, my day ones with me to talk about some real issues going on in America, real issues going on in society. And as we did before, it has a connection to sports. And sports always has a connection to music. So we're going to be talking about Colin Kaepernick and his decision, or what I consider a silent protest, deciding not to stand for the national anthem or during football games. He did it so far during the preseason because no actual football games have been played. But again, so let's bring it back. Kaepernick sat for several preseason national anthems, and for I think it's the third preseason game, he was actually videotaped, and it was brought to the media's attention that he was actually sitting. I guess they thought prior to that he was only sitting because of the injury and not the fact that he was actually playing in the game. So the media blew that up, and he was being pretty much ostracized, criticized, dragged through the mud as a result of not standing for the national anthem, and saying that he was disrespecting the military and all these things that weren't true because nobody decided to determine why he was doing it. They just made the assumptions, which again, what they say about when you assume, you make an ass of you and me. So it looked like the media did that in this case. So fast forwarding a little bit, they then decided to ask Kaepernick why he didn't stand for the national anthem. And he eloquently stated that he wasn't doing it because of military, which was stated prior, that he has people in his family that are in the military. He has friends that are in the military, that it had nothing to do with the military. It had to do with the fact that in his heart, he could not stand for an anthem, one, which has slavery ties in the song itself, which we'll get into later, but also for the fact that it's speaking about equality and justice for all, when he's not seeing that equality and justice for all people. And in that regard, talking about specifically Black Lives Matter movement, that black people and people of color aren't getting treated equally, has been seen through several cases. Just alone in this year, there's, I think, what is the number, 400 or something like that, maybe even 500 at this point, of unarmed black men being shot by cops. Again, I'm not saying that all of those cases are unjustified, but we have seen several cases more than statistically as an anomaly, that it is actually a systemic issue of black men, especially unarmed black men, getting killed by cops. Alan Sterling, more of the recent cases, Philando Castro had a weapon on him, but he had a license to carry. He told the cop that he had a license to carry it, and he was still shot and killed in front of his wife, or his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's daughter. So those cases are what Colin Kaepernick is talking about in this regard. He's also talking about police brutality, which ties to that. But he said that all cops aren't bad, but that these cops are getting paid, are killing people and getting paid to not work as a result of killing people, which is not just in what the verse that we do sing in the national anthem speaks to. And so he doesn't feel compelled to stand. So I wanted to touch on the fact that, for me, when people say that it's disrespectful for him to do that, especially when he specifically and implicitly stated that he's not doing it for the military, so let's drop that issue, but they still bring it up. Then you go on to the fact that you're just saying the fact that he's sitting is wrong when that is in the Constitution, your freedom of speech. So you're saying you shouldn't exercise your right? So if you don't exercise your right, why have it? To me, like, people are not being rationally thinking about this. So that's another aspect of it. And so people are missing the message behind the protest. And the purpose of a protest, I want to touch on that. The purpose of a protest is to make you pick a side. Because if you don't make somebody pick a side, you're never going to get things accomplished. If everybody is in the middle ground, you're going to stay with status quo. You have to make them pick a side. And him sitting, which he later modified rather, and knelt, which again shows that he's not just making a protest. He's actually listening to what the criticism, and he's trying to be conscious and considerate of those people that feel disrespected, because that is not the intent of his message. He's trying to get people to get back to the message. So he's saying, let's figure out a better way to get this message, but it still be as effective, but without compromising my stance that I've already taken. So I know I've talked about a lot, and we're going to continue to talk about a lot in this regard. But I want to hear from the guests in the building, and let's see what they have to say in regards to this situation, because as you can tell, I'm very passionate and adamant about this, because this is something that I do care about as a black man in America that has seen racism firsthand in many manners, which we can get into detail later. Again, I want to get some input from some of the other people in the room and see what they have to say, and so I'm going to pass it off to my boy to the left. Get it, bro.
Well, yeah, this is, I think who I am isn't so much important. You most likely haven't heard of me or know of me anyways, but I definitely want to lend my input to the issue. And one thing I really want to say is, resoundingly, it's about goddamn time that these athletes, these brothers, and I don't know what Kaepernick's background is, but just professional athletes in general tend to come from the hood. They tend to come from, the slums of America, if you will. These are the guys we put on the pedestal. These are the guys we worship on Sundays or Saturdays or through the week, what have you, throughout the week in professional sports. These are the guys that are our Superman. They're our heroes, right?
That's right.
But all these brothers come from the hood. They've been,
a good majority at the least.
Most definitely, man, right? So these brothers come from that background that have been discriminated against or have been marginalized, right?
That's right.
But you just goddamn never hear these brothers stepping out and speaking about social injustices, right?
Exactly.
Until now, right?
Or, well, I want to add to that, because I don't want to disrespect Carmelo, Chris Paul, LeBron James,
right? Because you got a few cats putting it down to the extent that they can, right?
Because Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade at the ESPYs, they introduced the ESPYs by saying, basically, stop the violence, stop the police brutality, things of that nature. But the way that they did it, to me, again, I don't want to take anything away from it, because a lot of people are going to misconstrue this as me saying that what they did isn't as valuable as what Colin Kaepernick is doing. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is the difference between the two is the Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, LeBron James, and D Wade's introduction to the ESPYs didn't make anybody pick a side, because what they said was, black or police killing unarmed black men is wrong, but people killing cops is wrong. People killing people is wrong. Who can argue with that? And I'm not saying that's wrong, but when you make somebody pick a side, again, that's because really nothing changed since they said that. They brought awareness, and then it was hot for about 2 weeks, and it was done.
But let me interject with that. This is your boy Reddy, by the way. Marvel guy. Now I'm switching a little bit to some political. So I just wanted to speak on a little bit what DeRa said over here. You were talking about the at the ESPYs. The thing why I see that as a difference, because that was a one-time thing. That's why I give Kaepernick more props, because when it comes to protesting, everybody can do once, even on a grand scale. But when you have to do it consistently, so every week, every time they see you, you have that face where I'm going to do it again, and it shows more, and it's that continuing. This is fortitude. So it reminds me of, like, he's doing a protest that. How do I say this? He's doing a protest that shows strength because he's holding out strength. That's why I've talked to other people about this. And the one thing I am worried about is if he gets shut down. When the point of where he ends up standing up, it would kill his whole entire protest because he caves in. At this point, he almost has to,
I don't believe he's going to cave in.
I hope not, because
I believe, if anything, they're going to get rid of him. But I'll bring up some other information that shows that he's getting support from Jeremy Lane, the cornerback for Seattle, also sat for the last preseason game. Eric Reed also knelt, the safety for the 49ers, knelt next to Colin Kaepernick in support of him the last preseason game. As well as there's an article that came out, I think Adam Schefter of ESPN. Hey, I'm giving ESPN some love, so y'all better hook a brother up, because I'm shouting y'all out. So give me.
Man, I think they doing all right on their own.
Yeah, they are, but hey, they can help a brother out. I can use him.
But with that though, that's one thing I love that you were saying is because even like the Brotha To The Left to me was saying, it's that solidarity, because they have so much. Athletes are like that we see them as role models, even though we shouldn't, because they're not technically good people, or as a whole. Not everybody's good. Some beat their wives, do other things, do some things. It happens. So let's be real.
Hey, that was a gross generalization. Some of them are good, some of them are bad.
I got something I want to say,
Go
man.
ahead.
And I'm going to tell you something that, OG told me a long time ago, man, and it really goes like this, and this is really to my point, which is that, a man is going to take care of his family. Yep. If you got your shit together, that's actually not that hard to do. You go to work, you come home, you take care of your family. A good man is going to take care of his community, right? You're talking about pastors and preachers. You got brothers that are going out in the community and volunteering their time and really trying to change things in their community. A great man, or the type of man there's no words for, is going to take care of his society. And my thoughts are that we put athletes in the category of the type of man where there's no words for, simply because they're really physically fit, because they're athletes, because they can work out, because they've been gifted athletically. That doesn't make them a great man. Doesn't make them the type of man that there's no words for. I've always judged a man based on where his heart is and where his mind is, and where what is he doing with his time outside of himself.
Based off his mirror, right?
Based off his mirror, right? And for the longest, man, and until now, and maybe till forever, until people wake up, we're gonna keep putting these athletes on the pedestals as heroes, and as a type of man. I'm gonna finish my thought, and I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to you, brother. And as a type of man, as heroes, essentially. But the question is, do they deserve that? Just because you make a lot of money, just because you're able to run the ball, does not mean you're a hero. Kaepernick, man, I was just telling my boy earlier, I've never liked Kaepernick just because I'm an Oakland Raider fan, man. I'm from East Oakland, you feel me? I'm an Oakland Raider fan. I give a fuck about a Kaepernick. However, over the past month, I've developed more respect for him than any other man in the NFL. You understand me? And that's mostly because I'm really seeing where he's at as a man. So where he's at is transcending this athletic ability. Where he's at is transcending this money that he has. And I'm seeing him as a man. And I'm finally starting to put him on that good to great man scale. And my thing is, a lot of these brothers in the NFL who have come from nothing, who have all this notoriety, have the potential to be great men. The question is, are they going to choose to do more, and speak up? And I know a lot of these brothers give to this organization, or have these kind of one pop shots where they go and give canned goods to the community or give backpacks and shit like that. But those things are not transforming anything. You know what I'm saying? What Kaepernick is doing is beginning to transform things.
It's bringing awareness on a whole nother level.
Right. And so here's the thing: you got the most of these motherfuckers that watch the NFL and watch the NBA and put these dudes on the pedestal. The majority of them are white people, because the majority of Americans are white people. But I think what they forget is that these are brothers. These are brothers who used to be the most downtrodden, who used to be the most, the hypersexualized and the most hyper violent and the most hyper, or less intelligent, and have all these stereotypes and stigmas that come with them. Yet because they can dribble a ball or run a ball, now they're superheroes, right? But they represent us, man. I'm a black man. My brother's here a black man. We got this, you know what I'm saying, this man here who's not a black man, Latino, right? But he gets it, though. It's the same deal. He's Latino, but he gets the same deal, right? These heroes that we put on the pedestal represent us. And, it's the same thing with the Beyonce effect, man. I think the mainstream media forgets that these are cultural icons, our cultural heroes are black people. So, I think, man, Paul Mooney said it best. He was like, everybody wants to be black, but nobody wants to be black, right?
That's the truth.
You feel me?
Just like that Chris Rock skit when he was like, I'm rich. And I guarantee you there's a white man on the top of this row of this arena that if I said, let's switch lives, he'd be like, nah, I'm cool. I'm going to ride this white thing out. I'm going to see how this goes.
Right. You feel me? So when it comes back to Kaepernick, man, and these athletes, I think my point is, if they're going to be as great as we perceive them to be, more of them need to stand up and speak their mind. Even if your mind is that, hey, man, racial profiling is not happening, then speak that shit, right? But if your mind is the truth, which that shit is happening and discrimination is happening, then speak that. Stop getting on this Michael Jordan or this Jerry Rice shit, because both of these men have spoke out and said they're non-political and they just play ball to play ball. Fuck both of them motherfuckers, right?
Well,
let me finish my thought.
Go ahead.
Stop being on that shit and get on this shit where you have the power, man, and be more than your athletic ability. Be what we put you on this pedestal to be. And speak your mind, whatever it is, even if it's contradictory to mine. Let's have this debate. Let's have this discussion. Let's have it.
That's the key. Right? Is people are afraid to have the discussion in itself, right. And that's the what I'm saying. Like you said, even if you don't have to agree with me, that's fine. But let's have the discussion and at least be open-minded enough that if you do make an actual valid point, that you at least take it under consideration. You don't have to either agree with it or even pass it on as saying it's right, but at least be open enough to acknowledge that I could be making a valid point, because nobody's ever completely right or completely wrong. There's usually something in the middle, and that's why having this discussion is so pivotal and it's so important. And that's why it's so frustrating when the media, society keeps on taking Colin Kaepernick's the purpose of him sitting is what he said: police brutality, one, and the oppression of people of color. So regardless of why what he's doing, let's focus on why he's doing it. And fuck the fact that he's sitting or kneeling, or I don't give a fuck if he lays down. He's doing it for a reason. So let's figure out why he's doing it, which we have now, and figure out, let's try to change the reason why he's not doing it. If you're so offended by it, and why are you so offended by him not kneeling, but you're not offended by black people of color getting actually killed?
And I love that, because there was this conversation I had with one of my boys, and the basic concept was, it's funny how only in America do they get mad at you for doing what they ask you to do, and then when you do it, they even more bothered. So originally they asked, why can't black people protest without making a lot of noise? So then Kaepernick sits down and makes no noise whatsoever. Then the first thing they say is, why does he even need a protest at all? And then the meme continues, and it's kind of like it talks to a cop, and the cop says, I gave you a football, right? It's all good now. We cool? No, we want you to stop killing us. No, okay, we're going to have a pool party. No, we just want you to stop killing us. We both ain't going to we're not going to do that. So let's just take this ice cream and smile. Because it's more offense of what the person's mad at instead of trying to fix the solution. Kind of like you said, it's I'm mad you're upset. So I'm just going to go attack you because you're upset. But I'm not going to try to figure out or try to fix what you're upset at.
Exactly.
Even if it is fair between the both of us. Because even if we want to, I'll take race out of it for a quick second. When it comes to cop brutality, it has just not been, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever way you want to see it, in just the African-American community. It's been happening to Latinos. It's been happening to even white people. It's been happening to across gender, across race, and across age when a little kid can get shot. So what I truly believe Kaepernick, because if you, like Brotha To The Left with me saying earlier, is Kaepernick did all this, but there was something that Shaq said earlier that kind of pissed me off, and he was like, Kaepernick is just now woken up, and he's just become, he just trying to do this because he's going to sit bench. If you look at Kaepernick's Facebook page, Twitter, his Instagram, his Snapchat, and his political, in general, his life in the NFL, he's done it from the beginning.
Yeah, he's been with Black Lives Matter. He's been
from the jump.
And he even stated it, and he said he's been thinking about this for a long time, but he's an intelligent man where he said, let me research, let me determine exactly how me personally want to affect change. How do I make a change? And then he finally decided on how to go about doing that change, and he did it. That's the protest he decided. And again, people are acting like this is a brand new thing. Carlos Smith did that in, the 1986 Olympics. I believe it's don't quote me on the actual year, but it was, I'm pretty sure it was at Olympics where they put the black fist in the air. What was that during? The national anthem, because they were on the podium. So this is, again, they didn't have their hands over their heart. They had their fists in the air saying black lives aren't being treated properly. In essence, that's what about Black Power, Black movement, about getting equal rights, making things equal for all parties. And so, yeah, they got ostracized at that as well. And Colin Kaepernick is getting the same thing now. So, and I love the fact that he picked his hair out and he's going pretty much back to that thing to show, like, to me, it's his way of saying, y'all, this ain't nothing new that I'm doing. Like, it's been done before. There was some change that was affected by that by them raising the black fist in the air. Like, we remember that to this day. And things did change as a result of that. To what degree, that can be debatable. But it did change. So hopefully we have that same sort of progression as a result of this. And like I said, Eric Reed joined him in taking a knee. Jeremy Lane for Seattle taking a knee. Seattle Seahawks themselves said that they plan on doing a unified team, in essence, protest or way of projecting the same message, or that they're in support of the message that Kaepernick is portraying. On Thursday Night Football with Carolina versus the Broncos, Brandon Marshall, the linebacker for the Broncos, also took a knee, and he later was interviewed saying that he did that in support of Colin Kaepernick, and that he's also going to donate money to community services or organizations that help fight for social justice, and to get equality for all. Because Kaepernick said that he's going to give his first $1 million to that same thing, as well as all of the proceeds from his jersey sale, since his jersey is number 1 now in the NFL. So, to me, again, this is showing that that what he's doing is affecting change. And hopefully, I really, really, really hope that we continue to see more and more of NFL players. They don't necessarily have to take a knee, whatever, but continue to speak out and be educated about the situation and have a focus towards a actual solution. I also hope that it crosses over to other sports, such as the NBA, because the NBA season is coming up, and that is a highly majority African-American league. And it has also crossed over to soccer. I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name, Megan Rapinoe for the Seattle Reign, also is taking a knee because she's a white gay woman that says, I understand the feeling of being oppressed and not having all my rights exercised because of something that you are innately. And so she's like, I need to stand up for for the oppressed people as well, even though I might not be oppressed.
Right, and I'm gonna step in there
Go
and
ahead.
and just really second everything my brother was saying, because I feel like, as a black athlete who has made it to the NFL, you have been the shit your whole life. From Pop Warner, most likely you was raw. You was raw at football. You was raw at basketball. You was the shit. You've been coddled your whole life, right? You've always been put on this pedestal of being really great. And you know what I'm saying, whether you kind of skated through high school or skated through college because of your athletic abilities, things have been plush for you. And I know that's the case for most, but I know a few brothers that have made it to the league, and things have been gravy for them. And, I guess, my thoughts are that I would really like these brothers to step out as men, right? And to step out of their comfort zone. And not be concerned about offending a few people, or you know what I'm saying,
Or sacrificing their brand.
Right, or sacrificing their brand, or just a little bit of money. You already got 10 mil, but they worried about them couple extra mil, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, and not be in a situation where they're worried about their brand, and really speak up for where they would be had they not had those athletic abilities.
True.
Because whether you're Adrian Peterson, Colin Kaepernick, you know what I'm saying, any of these motherfuckers, right? If they didn't have this athletic ability, they would be susceptible to the same discrimination that me, you, my brother to the left, my brother to the right, my Latino brother right here, we all susceptible to. When I leave this spot right here, I'm going to go home, and if I get blurred, if I get pulled over, I'm worried about what's going to happen.
And
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
real life. That's
Right,
real life. Like,
right.
This ain't no game. This is life.
Right. But they're a little bit outside. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying, for the most part, because they're making millions. They're on TV. However, if they did, they would want, you know what I'm saying, individuals who did have the power to speak up, just like we want them to speak up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's my thing, man. Be the man that society puts you. To meet the expectations that we have for you.
And that's another reason why I respect what Kaepernick said, because in his initial interview about why he's doing what he's doing, he said specifically, I'm not doing this for me. Yes, I've been oppressed. Yes, I've been discriminated against. So I know that it's real. Like, so it's for me, for him, he's saying, for me, it's not a question of if it's real or not. It is real. I'm not oppressed now because I'm in a position. I'm in an affluent position. I have the money to not necessarily escape it, because we saw with James Blake, he was arrested and falsely accused for being somebody else, and had police brutality against him, and he's a famous tennis player. So like, fame, money, none of that you escapes you from that issue. Stephen A. Smith, who is a prominent sports analyst or pundit on ESPN on First Take, said that he was pulled over. 9 cars pulled up to his car, pulling their guns out, when all he asked was, "Why are you pulling me over?" And he has fame, fortune, and all that, like I said, and he still gets it. So that doesn't protect you against it. But the thing, like I said, that I respect about Kaepernick, he said, I'm doing this for the people that don't have the voices, for the voiceless, for the ones that are being oppressed, that don't have the financial means to escape the same situations how I can. So to me, that's even more admirable for him to do that, as well as him saying that I don't care if I lose football. I don't care if I lose my endorsements, because what I'm standing for, at the end of the day, at least I'll know that I did what was right.
And see, and that's my point, man.
And to me, that's a real man.
That's a real man. That's what manhood's about, right? It's not about how much money you got, how many women you've had in the past month.
Or a real woman could do the same thing. I don't want to be gender biased, but since he is a man, I'm talking about him.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's not about those superficial things that society puts on men these days, right?
Exactly.
It's about, and it's not even really a man thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good person thing, right? It's an adult thing, right? It's the responsible thing to do.
Exactly.
Right?
Because we have to look out for when you look out for more than yourself, it shows you, to me, like, who you are.
It goes back to how I started my my part, man. You know what I'm saying? A man is gonna take care of his family. It's not that hard to do. You go to work, you come home, you take care of your family, you pay the bills.
Exactly.
Good man is going to take care of his community, right?
That's right.
A great man, a type of man where there's no words for, going to take care of his society. He's going to take that on his back. He's going to stand up no matter how. He's not going to be worried about or concerned about how people perceive it. He's going to speak his mind. He's going to speak the truth. You know what I'm saying? And he's open for discussion.
Exactly.
Right? He's going to do his research. He's not going to speak from a place of isolation or a place of bigotry, or he's not going to keep his mouth shut, right?
Exactly.
He's going to speak his mind and welcome the discussion.
Yeah, because the thing that people don't realize is your belief doesn't have to be my belief, and that's fine.
Right.
That's fine. You have to be more accepting, one, and two is at the same time of just being accepting of somebody else's ideas, you tend to learn things that you never thought about.
Right.
And it gives you a different perspective. And when you change your perspective, it changes your world. When you change your world, you can change others.
Absolutely.
So we have to have the ability to have the discussion. And that's why that is the most frustrating part about this whole situation, is that people keep on going back to what he's doing instead of why he's doing it.
And, you know,
what
and
he's
let's
saying.
go to what he's
because
doing,
it's a
man.
distraction. I think
And
they're trying to distract the people from the true message.
Right, absolutely. And let's talk about what he's doing on a practical level. Right? You have one man. You know how many players are on the field at one time, man? What, I don't know. Let's say what 22 on the football field, right?
Yeah.
Starters. I don't know how many.
32 on a.
So let's
32
roughly
on a
say
team.
50 cats on the field, right?
Mhm.
You got one of these cats sitting down during the national anthem, right? He's not sitting down during the game. He's sitting down during the national anthem, right? What does that really mean? What impact did that have at all in life in general on this? Not only on this game, I'm gonna pass it to you, bro, but not only on this game, but in life in general, right? What is the practical impact of that?
But with that though, what I want to add is,
Yeah.
if you ever read all the lines of it, there's hella racist lines within the Star Spangled Banner. It's it just escaped me because I was just thinking about the original creator of the song itself was a slave owner, and he transported slaves. He was talking the third line of it itself goes along the lines of, if you run away, we can kill you because that's part of who we are. Then it goes to the bombs bursting in the air. So even the song itself is predicated upon the backs of slaves and the backs of the pain and agony of a black person. So that's why it's even more impactful, because most people don't really think where the Star Spangled Banner comes from. That's why the fist was so powerful, because they was based off of the same concept, showing that even with this, you know, I can show you my black power. It doesn't matter where it is, when it is, what it was about. We're here, and we're going to make a difference if you like it or not.
Absolutely. And first of all, I get everything you're saying, bro. Everything you're saying makes perfect sense to me. But I think, you know, maybe for some that might be listening, that might be too abstract. That might be too on the, you know what I'm saying, on the left end of the spectrum for them, right? So, you know, first of all, again, you make perfect sense. But practically speaking, for those that might not be listening to anything you're saying because it's too Afrocentric for them, right? What does this one man sitting down, why is it causing such a stir, right?
One man can make a difference.
Go ahead.
And you know, and that's what I was gonna say, right? It's like a, you know, he's starting this fire that might not be put out. Again, it might be put out if he's not strong enough. It might be put out if enough brothers don't join, right? But it has the potential to be a big ass flame, man.
And my belief on the reason why it's so offensive, and because again, the response that we're seeing from this is nowhere near the response that we got from Alton Sterling being shot and being seen, that video being seen. And to me, that's more egregious, more devastating. More, like I said, like I told other people, when I first saw that, like, that was heartbreaking. Like, literally heartbreaking to see that man get killed in that manner. But again, like I said, the response that Kaepernick is getting for literally taking a knee/sitting doesn't get the same response as somebody getting killed in cold blood, in essence. In front, on camera, or in Philandro Castro's case, in front of his girlfriend and daughter, not his daughter, but his girlfriend's daughter, a little kid. Or Tamar Rice, was he 12? Getting shot for a plastic gun.
In an open carry state.
I don't give a damn if it was open carry or not. It's a plastic gun, which they gave him 12 seconds to determine. I don't give a fuck what you do in 12 seconds. You can't even. 12 seconds just passed. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the animosity that he's being felt doesn't correlate to the degree at which he's doing. So that to me shows that.
I'm gonna tell you why. Why.
Go ahead.
You know, because the majority of Americans,
don't want to accept
to give a damn about a black man, but they gonna love their America like it's, you know what I'm saying, like it's their blood,
exactly.
man.
And that to me that's what's so disheartening. That's so what's so scary. And like, there's so much to talk about on this topic that I know we've been talking for a minute, guys. So I'm gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna hit you with a part 2. Don't think we done. We're gonna hit you with a part 2 because there's a lot more that we'd like to discuss and take it to different areas in this regard. So again, thank you for listening to another Stay Woke podcast. This is again presented by thesonicbreakdown.com. We again appreciate you listening, appreciate you following. Continue to check out thesonicbreakdown.com. And we're just going to keep on giving you, like we say, it's called Stay Woke for a reason. We're trying to keep people awake, give our input, give our ideas, our discussions about what's really going on. It's usually based on music, but again, to me, this is a topic that had to be talked about. I've been thinking about doing a podcast in this vein a long time before Colin Kaepernick and this whole situation. It didn't feel quite right. And I'm glad that I have my boy here, Reddy here, and William here to really solidify. And I think this is the reason why I was waiting to have it, is because I wanted the energy and the discussion and the flowing of ideas and minds that we just experienced, because I don't think it would have did it justice any other way. So we're going to do a part 2 shortly, so that should be coming out shortly. Again, thank you for listening to another Stay Woke podcast. You know, we've been drinking out of white cups this time. No red cup boys today. But still keep your mind open. And you know the Stay Woke motto, the Sonic Breakdown motto: live, listen to some great music, and above all, man, love each other, man. We need more love in this world. Especially now. We need more love. And I'm out.